Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel and the what ends up being the January 29th, 1983 edition of Mid South, or I'm sorry, Mid Atlantic Wrestling. Highlights of a Jimmy Valiant and Joe Laduce match here. I've actually watched up until the midpoint of 1984, so lots of stuff to catch up on. Hopefully, get caught up with several episodes, probably about 20 or 30 episodes this week, if my schedule allows. But this is my busy time of year, so that may not happen. Anyway, Laduce managed to drop things into kind of a fist drop, and obviously, Jimmy Valiant basically trying to be run off by the House of Humperdinck here. Laduce finally does manage to get a couple of punches off on Valiant. There is blood in the match, obviously. Joe Laduce known for blood in his contests, and that kind of is the way we continue to go here going forward. Then we open up into the first official match of the day, which is Sweet Brown Sugar, who happens to be a reasonable facsimile guy here. Rick Harris or Sweet Brown Sugar and Dizzy Hogan versus Rick Harris and Ken Timms. Interesting, Dizzy Hogan, of course, known as Brutus Beefcake to most. Sweet Brown Sugar manages a couple of drop kicks and some arm bars, basic stuff here. The Dizzy Hogan promo, which they actually do two of in the confines of this particular program, pretty basic, but he's happy to be there. Blonde hair, Brutus Beefcake, long hair, just a weird thing. Rick Harris, of course, becomes Black Bart, so that's a little bit later. And if you haven't already watched or listened more accurately to our World Class Series 300 Deep, worth doing there. Attempted drop to hold by Ken Timms. Timms is a guy who probably is looked in a lot of circles for his wrestling acumen, just because he's not, a super famous guy, never got major pushes, but was good everywhere he went, which is actually what you want to be, because that means you can have a full-time 20, 30-year career. And, if you're an enhancement guy or one step above, that's a perfectly good place to be where you're making a decent enough living anyway. Sweet Brown Sugar with the Irish Whip, and then the big hip toss out of the corner, drop kick under the chin, basic maneuvers, and Sweet Brown Sugar pushed pretty regularly here in 1983. Obviously, the baby faces get your win as we go to the next in the series of match, your U.S. champion, which is Greg Valentine. Valentine been champion for several months on and off. And of course, leading to Starrcade 83 later in the year, which we will be doing the Starrcade series. I'm actually going to do Starrcade 83 as a companion piece to the Mid Atlantic series, so look for that over the next little while. But anyway, we move to Greg Valentine against Mike Davis. Valentine and Davis, not exactly a barn burner match in 1983, but it does what it needs to do, and that's get Valentine some ring time. Davis, of course, a good hand body slam along the way sends him out to the floor. Davis has been doing enhancement talent work for the promotion for quite a bit. Davis gets sent out to the floor, and the big arena floors do matter here. Valentine taking his man down. Not necessarily sure that I understand the Humperdinck connection for a number of reasons, but a armbar by Valentine tries to get a submission on the armbar. Valentine also with the kind of the diving elbows and gets a win there. As mentioned, the Dizzy Hogan, aka Brutus Beefcake promo, where he basically says he's happy to be there. Of course, he's only been around by this point for about 5 years, 6 years at this point, but really has not caught on. Beefcake really doesn't catch on major till the WWF, which we know happens in '84. So, still trying to find his way around. One man gang, $5,000 body slam challenge. Various people, including Iceman King Parsons, giving for the challenge, and various people challenging there. Dick Slater out with the one-man gang, and he's in street clothes. Kind of does not get slammed there. They've done quite a bit with the gang slam thing. He doesn't really last too much longer. I think he's there through the end, but then of course there's challenges by Jimmy Valiant, and that continues. Dusty Rhodes is here, and he is claiming that when Terry Funk comes in, he'll take care of Terry Funk. Also, the $100,000 Dory Funk Jr. Challenge. I love the yellow glasses by Dusty Rhodes here in this particular promo here in 1983. Just a really interesting thing. Dory Funk Jr. says that Rhodes isn't a problem. Also says that Rhodes is going to get run off. Valentine basically says he's been U.S. champion for a long time, and he intends to continue that championship run. House Humperdinck still in control. Dick Slater again calling out Roddy Piper as Valentine begins to do. Also, Valentine and Piper go into Starrcade 83 as the U.S. Championship dog collar match. Actually interested to see that. Haven't seen that in probably 10, 15 years. So when I finally do get there, that'll be cool to watch. Anyway, Roddy Piper and Dick Slater have their brawl, which was from previous weeks ago, and they continue to show that. The talk that they are going to suspend Piper for that involvement is pretty intense at the time. They go several minutes and show the brawl. Basically, Slater in a post-match promo says that Piper has never really been challenged. Piper's never really fought with a real man. I do tend to like this version of Dick Slater promo-wise. Never really been a fan of Slater in the ring, but do understand where he would be a draw for some people from a promo perspective. Also, we go to Ben Benfield and Dick Slater going at it here. Of course, by this point, eventually, Slater becomes the television champion in the not too distant future here. Slater, though, manages to get a couple of shots off and punch kick headbutts along the way, headbutts that don't look too cheesy either by any stretch of the imagination. And then we see the kind of the go around and pile driver by Slater, of course, with Funk coming in. The pile driver, just an interesting thing. Many people over the years make the comparison between Dick Slater and Terry Funk, so using that kind of falling, sliding pile driver, and then actually Slater using the Boston Crab as a finish, which always struck me as kind of odd. Doesn't really seem to fit his character, but it is what it is and gets to where it needs to be. Sweet Brown Sugar and Dizzy Hogan do cut a promo. Basically, the promo is pretty simple. The inference that they're going to be a top team in the area, which does not manifest in the weeks and months to come. Roddy Piper basically dares everyone to find him. He doesn't really care one way or the other. Then we go to Florida, oddly enough, basically to get more Ric Flair on television. Pat Rose is the individual that Flair is fighting here. Also, just an FYI, found about 100 episodes of the old 80s Florida territory, so going to be doing a Florida series and eventually the FCW Florida relaunch in 2006, 7, 8, 9, somewhere in there. Before NXT, also on the docket of things to check out in the new year. So, cool stuff. But Flair bounces around for Pat Rose, makes Rose look like $1,000,000 before grabbing an armbar and a wrist lock and other basic maneuvers. Flair using the vertical suplex along with the drop of the knee across the bridge of the nose, a la a Dusty or Harley Race type maneuver. Flair really comes into being more prominently featured on television in 83, so harder to see him 81, 82, even though he was champion at the time, but 83 and beyond is Flair's major run. There's complaints between Cornoodle and Sergeant Slaughter about the crushing of the hat of Sergeant Slaughter by who they suspect to be Youngblood and Steamboat. Also, the tag team of Cornoodle and Slaughter go into a squash match here. Dropkick by Cornoodle along the way, gets what he can out of it, and then there's a back suplex, almost like a modified type maneuver. And Steamboat and Youngblood managed to imply that maybe they did destroy the personal property of Sergeant Slaughter. Also, Briscoe out with Sweet Brown Sugar, endorsing him. Always cool how Mid-Atlantic and other territories would have baby faces endorse each other almost as a continuation of the permission for the fans to like them. Jimmy Valiant out with the baby faces and basically says he's going to get rid of once and for all the One Man Gang, and the rest of the House of Humperdinck. And again, we kind of closed the program with a kind of an in-the-face run between Briscoe and Piper and all the baby faces, closing the program on a happy note, and kind of final visuals with Jimmy Valiant dancing in the ring with a couple of wrestlers. Kind of a cool deal. We'll close January on that note. We'll be back with more right after this.